Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're reviewing a Defender 130. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Ken Garf Land Rover here in Salt Lake City, Utah for giving me some time with this Defender. I'm going to include a link to the website in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering this is a turbocharged 3-liter inline-6 that goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. It puts out 395 horsepower and then 406 pound-feet of torque. Fuel economy is 17 around town and then 20 on the highway. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Now, starting with the hood, you guys can see the Defender logo front and center, and then of course we have my favorite part of the hood of every Defender there on either side. Now, popping down below, you guys can see the signature headlight design. Notice Land Rover here on the silver trim piece. And then you got more silver down below with the parking sensors. We also have fog lights on top of that. And putting it all together, it has the beefy Defender look, and it's a cool boxy design. Now, around the side here, our tire wheel setup is 255, 60, 20 in the front and over in the rear. And you guys can see here with the wheels, you've got the metallic gray, which I think looks really sharp. And then all-terrain tires, which is another cool part of this particular one. And you guys can see the fender flares and how that bodywork continues all along the side. And notice how this coloration matches the venting here on the side. And then everything else is pretty much just blacked out. And this, of course, leads us to our full side view here with the 130. You guys can see it's elongated there in the back end to accommodate for extra space. Now, taking a look at the key fob, we have our lock and unlock function. That's for the lights, and then that is to unlock the rear door. And then you've got your Land Rover logo on the back. And speaking of the back, you guys can see we've got a bunch of rivets here, which is really cool Defender logo. And then we actually have a little bit of storage underneath here and some toolkit and everything. But anyways, this is the storage behind the third row. You can fold down the third row. That's why you've got these little straps right here if you need even more storage in the back. And then this has air suspension, so you can raise and lower the back end, so it makes accessing this cargo area easier. And closing this up, plop, you guys can see the taillight design and then Defender down below, parking sensors at the bottom, and then we got the full-size spare. And then here's the rest of the rear of the 130. Now I've got soft touch here on the door panel, and then you can see the rivets down below, and then more soft touch, and then we got some speakers here for the sound system, which they have such a rugged look. And then here are the seats. You can see perforated all down the center portion. We've got all of our adjustments and everything on the side. Now in the third row of the 130, foot room is actually decent. It's pretty typical for most SUVs of this size segment. And then notice we have a vent right next to the USB port. We actually have some cup holder, and it's padded right here, so it's not just plastic. So I think they did a good job with that. And then it's kind of hard to show, but we do have our own sunroof here in the back. No Alpine lights, just a sunroof up top. And then because it's boxy, headroom's good. Legroom here in the back's really good too. We have a little storage net right here, controls for your own climate zone. You've got some charging ports as well. And then headroom back here, again, it's good. Now taking a look at the front door panel, you can see again soft touch and just down below, and then you got all the exposed rivets. We've got all of our window controls here, memory seat function, more speakers for the sound system, and then blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. And then here are the front seats, again perforated all down the center portion. Power adjustments here on the side, you got your parking brake right here, and then again more soft touch. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, you guys can see soft touch all around, and again you got the Defender's really cool spoke design. We've got stuff like adaptive cruise control, heated steering wheel function on the steering wheel, controls for the center stack, and then your regular stocks here on the rear. Full digital gauge cluster here in the center. We can also change what the gauge looks like. We can see different bits of vehicle information as well. I think clean design overall. And then you guys can see full 360 camera system with this, and we even have a 3D view, which is definitely, I don't know. I think that's kind of like a cool feature to have. You've got your on-road mode, off-road mode, towing mode as well. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, this is the larger unit. Really good response time, and I love how it shows the air quality inside and out because this has the purification. Also shows us the elevation here, whether the differential's locked or not. And then this is cool with the trim at the top of the dash, and it goes to like a grab handle. And then we're gonna pop down below. So this is our multi-function control, so you press it in and that does the seats, and then that's your drive mode select, and then that's your fan speed. For the drive modes, you basically have a bunch of off-road modes and then a couple on-road modes. hill descent control, air suspension controls, and then you guys can see for the low range. And then again, you got that shifter for the 8-speed automatic. Cup holder action right here with some USBs, and then I like this trim right here. And then nice padding on top of the center console. Ooh, this one's a refrigerator. And they got wireless phone charging pad in front. And then when we're, oh, there we go. I can say while we're on the topic of storage, we got the glove box. And then we do have a camera rear view mirror in this particular one, and then controls here for the sunroof. So here's a quick look at the window sticker. You guys can see all of the standard equipment there. Base MSRP $77,100. Total MSRP $86,208. Let's see how it drives. Okay, so let's talk about visibility here. You got visibility over the hood, which is really good. Obviously, the boxy design helps out that. Both the mirrors do blind spot monitoring, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And I mean, it's longer than the 110, but the windows are big squares, so overall visibility is actually pretty solid. And the camera rear view mirror also helps out with that. This is kind of like a weird back-to-back driving. I'm driving this after I just drove a V8 110, and so it'll be interesting to see kind of the difference with the inline 6 versus the V8, but obviously not a perfect comparison because you're talking about, you know, 110 versus 130. So yeah, we'll see kind of how this goes. Seat comfort's actually pretty good though. I will say that suspension's comfortable too with the air suspension. You can definitely tell the torque difference right off the bat. So that's interesting. And it's quiet. It's interesting the sound difference. Obviously V8 versus inline 6, you know, there is going to be a difference, but it's quite substantial. And cabin insulation is pretty good. It's pretty quiet. I mean, you can still hear stuff that's happening outside, but I think it insulates you pretty good overall. So it's interesting. Oh, why is this on, by the way? Oh, it is cold. That is frigid. Like that gets like, that's like freezer levels of like cooling pretty much. So you could, I don't know if that's like true, but it looks like you could almost like freeze stuff in that, which is interesting. But anyways, we'll actually get up and move here. That was the longest light ever, by the way. I like the turbo noise. You get a little bit of turbo in the mix. It's interesting, this doesn't really drive too much different than the 110. It does feel a little bit bigger, but it's not bad. I will say though, it's interesting to feel the difference with the engines. This definitely doesn't have that same instant punch that you get from the V8. Supercharger helps out that quite a bit. So to sum things up here with the 130, I think it looks pretty good on the outside. I do think the 110 looks the best in terms of design. This interior is nice. It's gonna has the more rugged feeling leather. It's not the super soft stuff, which I actually like quite a bit. I like the more rugged feeling stuff. And it drives well, honestly. So, I mean, this is kind of just like a cool 3-row SUV. I think that if you basically want, you know, you need the 3-row practicality, but you want something that just looks cooler, that's where this comes in, and that's what this provides. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on the 130, and let me know your thoughts on the inline 6 versus the V8. Which route would you go? Because fuel economy with them, there's a difference, right? Quite substantial difference, but it's not as different as you would think. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that.